Give yourself to the dark side. The Acolyte, Episode 4, entitled Day. I have no idea or inclination as to why it would be called Day. Anyway, we pick up right where Episode 2 left off. Osha is invited to the Jedi Temple for reasons? Because she immediately tells Daphne Keen after Daphne Keen's workout, I'm leaving. And it doesn't make any sense. It's like, okay, you saw your sister alive, who you believe to have been dead for 16 years. You hesitated. I understand you were in shock seeing May in the flesh. Okay, I buy that. And she even said, I won't hesitate a second time. Okay? So why are you leaving? And I thought it was a just clever ploy so that she could search out May on her own, because I believe she said she was sensing something. I might have my timeline disorganized. But Daphne Keen, I do not remember the character's name. She's logical always, and for some reason, they're treating these two as if they're good friends. She's like, you're gonna miss me. I'm like, she doesn't know you. When last we saw, Daphne Keen was in a ship about to blow May to smithereens overhead while Yord and Sol confronted May on the ground. But we don't see any bonding between these two, so I'm like, why is this music, this touching music playing between these two strangers to one another? Anyway, so there is a powwow or briefing by, I hope I get this right, the Under Council of the High Council of the Jedi Order. So not the big bosses, but the under bosses of the Jedi. Okay. So then they're saying, should we tell the High Council? And Madame Valestra, the green woman, says no, because if we inform the High Council, they will immediately inform the Senate. And unfortunately, this is sort of consistent with Jedi recent lore. When I mean recent lore, I mean prequel lore. That they would have to reveal everything to the Senate. Even though Anakin Skywalker was commissioned by Obi-Wan at the behest of the Council to spy on the head of the Senate, Chancellor Palpatine. I'm pretty sure they didn't tell the Senate that. So, whatever. Now, I do also believe that this is their way of keeping Yoda out of the series. Okay, even though Ki-Adi-Mundi, apparently, is in it. So that immediately creates immediate plot holes, because he is aware of this situation. Okay, and I keep saying Madame Valestra. Master Valestra says that she senses a shift. That's something the High Council should be alerted to immediately. A shift? Come on, green lady, use your brain. Use your gray matter, green skin. Anyway, so Master Sol says that he wants permission to chase down May. But let me go back. Osha said she's leaving because her name was cleared. I'm like, wait a minute, there was no trial. The murderer is still out there. You're still a suspect. You still could be in cahoots with May. You could be. Your cover story could have been, oh, I saw her fall into the pit. And Master Sol would be able to corroborate that. But when she left the Jedi Order, there's no telling whether or not she rendezvoused with her sister. That didn't make any sense. Not to me. It did not. So there's some back and forth. Sol saying Osha should come with me so they can track down May. Osha won't be facing May. She'll be facing herself. That line or that philosophy is repeated in this episode about Osha, facing her past. And Sol said that he will reveal to Osha what he knows. So that might explain the death of the witch coven on Rendok. Okay. Now, theory time. Smiley the Sith is obviously Chimera, so it might not be him because it's too obvious. Smiley the Sith might be Master Torben, maybe. Or Smiley the Sith might be Mother Coral. I don't think it would make any logical sense for Smiley the Sith, when revealed, to be anyone we haven't seen yet. Because I believe he told May to track down these 4 Jedi, who apparently were stationed on that planet Brindok, when the witches... But the witches said that the Jedi didn't know that planet was inhabited. And... oh, Lord. Anyway, let me go on with the episode, because I'm thinking too much. So, let's go to May and Chimera. They go to Kofar, they reach Kofar first. They go into the woods. Chimera seems to know everything, even though they show him trip over something to look like a doofus when we all suspect he's Smiley the Sith anyway. He's bumbling, he's stumbling. It's almost like Master Yoda's portrayal of being a bumbling, annoying little alien when he first met Luke in adult form, because he was there at Luke's birth apparently, in The Empire Strikes Back. So May and Chimera are tracking Kelnaka. The Jedi arrive with a host this time instead of just 2. They have this mole who can track a Wookiee for about 50 miles with just a rag with his scent on it. Now, let me go back to something I said earlier. Kelnaka is apparently stationed on Kofar. Now, when the Jedi, listen to this, when the Jedi arrive on the planet, there's this guy in a lawn chair that's just out in the open, just talking. He said that Kelnaka went into the woods and never came out. If Kelnaka wanted to abandon his post and be in solitude, why would he stay on that same planet? Shouldn't Kelnaka have used the Force to knock that creature out and just taken a ship, destroyed the transponder, and been lost in space if he really wanted solitude? Anyway, so May and Chimera happen to know exactly where Kelnaka's base is, so they both ditch each other. Chimera said, well, May said she wanted to take a rest. Chimera keeps going, I believe. Then she has a sinister look. She goes off in a different direction. She screams. The scream is heard by Chimera and the Jedi somehow. Chimera comes running and he's entangled in a trap. And he's dangled upside down by his ankle. So then, with this new revelation, May says, I don't have to worry about the Master anymore. I'm not afraid of him killing me. Why? We don't know. She says she's going to go find Kelnaka and turn herself in to the Jedi. So she came upon this. She said her duty was to her sister now. So clearly, she's retarded. Let me explain why she's retarded. Instead of coming to that conclusion when she's in front of the Jedi and when she's in front of her sister, it takes a whole nother rotation, I believe, and a whole nother planet for her to come up with this idea that could have been made in the presence of her sister and the Jedi. Okay, got it. So she says it's just 10 minutes from here, right? Right. She goes to Kelnaka's ship. I said he was living like a vagabond while watching it, but apparently he just went AWOL and decided to just go into the forest about 50 miles from where he was stationed. Horrible AWOL, Kelnaka. So she goes inside the ship. She sees the back of him because he's sitting in a chair. And I'm thinking, okay, Kelnaka's dead. The one person from the trailer that I really wanted to see expounded upon, a Wookiee Jedi, we don't see him die. We just see him dead with a lightsaber slash across his midsection. So to be honest, all of my expectations for this series is now gone, because that was the one thing from the trailer that I appreciated. So we didn't see the Wookiee use any kind of Force abilities. He's just dead. He's just dead, even though he's a Jedi. Crap. So then the Jedi conveniently arrive when she's inside looking at the dead carcass of Kalnaka. They listen to what the Jedi say. They say, "Come out with your hands where we can see." I guess they assumed that May and Chimera were inside. So they just said, whoever's in there, come out with their hands where they can see them. So while this is happening, Osha is behind the Jedi like she was instructed to be for her safety. And almost like Mary Poppins, shout out to The Last Jedi, Smiley the Sith, who's blurred, descends slowly, as if on a wire, instead of just landing. So everyone stops, everyone pauses. Sol turns around, doesn't say anything. Osha turns around, is frozen in fear of this being. She don't know what a Sith is, does she? But she's just terrified, and Smiley the Sith looks even more ridiculous. Smiley the Sith just looks utterly clumsy and stupid looking. He's advancing towards her so slowly. The Jedi aren't making a move. And then at the last second, he ignites his lightsaber. Then they turn their lightsabers on. So I guess they figured, oh, this poor wanderer with this haunting mask and this black-clad garb, maybe he's just lost looking for directions. So then they say, Osha, get out of the way. So he does a little finger flick. Osha goes flying. The 6 or 8, I thought it was 8, Jedi, they're all activated their lightsabers. They converge on Smiley. He does a force push, blasts them all out of the frame, and the episode ends. Talk about anticlimactic. This wasn't a terrible episode, okay? It wasn't bad. I give it about a D, okay? Because the execution and the failed opportunities make it a D. It's not because the lore is horrible. It's just bad television. It's just bad television. A wasted opportunity to see a Wookiee Jedi in action, in live action. Instead, he's just slumped over in his chair with a lightsaber slash. This wasn't some child. This was a Wookiee with force powers. Why couldn't we see some action? The only action we had was this flying cockroach that was touched by Osha in the forest. Sol ignites his lightsaber. I believe he said afterwards that they're attracted to light. He bisects it and says, hey, let's keep going before it gets dark. So this trek through this dangerous woods goes without a hitch, except the Wookiee's now dead, killed off camera. Dumb. So we're going to end the video there. I can only assume that episode 5 will be the confrontation with Smiley the Sith. Perhaps the entire episode will be devoted to it. This is 2 Ds in a row. 3 and 4 are Ds. I like the tone of this episode, but the wasted opportunities, the uneventful trek through a forest. At least they could have run into an ROUS from The Princess Bride, a rodent of unusual size, rather than that dung beetle and those other ones that were feasting on, I think, the trees or whatever. No menace. Smiley the Sith, he did have a bit of an air of menace, but if he's not Chimera, he has to be Mother Coral, the Zabrak on Brendok, or Master Torvin. But Chimera was just, the things he was saying, the things he were doing, too convenient. I pegged him as Smiley the Sith early on. If it's not either of those 3, I don't know where the heck we're going. Or maybe it was Mother Annalesta, or whatever her name was. That's episode 4. I will return for episode 5. Give yourself to the dark side. Give yourself to the dark side.